Make some noise. Rose McIver, everybody!
Oh, hi guys. Hello, Boston. Hello. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for coming.
Have you done Boston before? Is this your first?
No, I've only been here on a fleeting trip once for like one night and I didn't get to look around, but making up for it this time, I'm gonna go check out the Commons. Is that what it's called? Thanks for having me. It's such a beautiful place.
I'm from Canada. You've shot a lot in Canada.
I have. Vancouver, BC. Any Canadians here?
Yeah.
Woo! Small but very enthusiastic support group.
Well, it was the home for iZombie for a while, and now I guess that's that. That's kind of...
Is this what this is about? Yeah, just making me sad,
Yeah,
making me
is
up.
that it? No more going to Canada. I don't...
Well, hopefully that's not the end of my relationship with Canada. I made some very good friends there, but yeah, it's really sad. It's the end of an era, and we've had such a good run. 5 seasons, can't complain about that. Thank you guys so much for being the best ever and keeping us on the air that long. We never knew our little show, iZombie, would keep going the way it did, so thank you.
Yeah, it must be really cool to step into a project, not really know that this would be on the other side of it, have it go on for so long, and then also probably pretty emotional to let that character go, that you've kind of really become a part of you.
Yeah, it very much feels like the end of high school, like all the bonds that we formed in 5 years, and everybody's so close, and we all have to go say goodbye. We don't know what's next. We literally don't know what's next. Any of us feel like, what's next? But it's been a really good run, so I'm just grateful for that.
So when the show ends that you've been with for so long, do you take like a souvenir with you? I know a lot of people like to steal things from set. Are you that type of person?
A thief?
Did you? Maybe you were gifted something.
You're really outing me here.
Yeah.
No, I did take, well, Ali, who plays Peyton, very kindly arranged for me to get the head that's on our mantelpiece. It's this like green kind of Egyptian head. And that was really sweet. So I have that at my mantle now at home, a little bit of love. And I've got a tattoo, so that's a lot to take from a project. It's the only tattoo I have, and it's a tiny little eye.
Huge.
I know.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I'm angry at the iZombie castmates, I just say it's an exclamation point and pretend I don't care about them.
You're the only person to get the tattoo, or another people?
No, me and Raoul and Malcolm, who play Ravi at Clive, we all got them together. Yeah.
Aww.
That's real friends, eh?
Let's just end it there. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Now, as I said earlier, and everyone joined me with the applause and laughter because of one of my guilty pleasures, Christmas movies. I love them. I can't get enough Christmas movies.
I've got just the thing for you.
Well, hey, I heard there may be another one coming. Is that true?
Christmas Prince, the Royal Baby, will be out this Christmas. There's some laughs, there'll be some applause, some groans, I'm sure. But it'll keep all your mums happy, so thank me later.
Well, when a Christmas Prince hit, I think people underestimated that it would kind of become this like phenomenon that it did, and now I know a lot of people that's going to become part of their Christmas tradition that they watch it. Is it odd to like be at maybe Kevin McAllister level with Home Alone, that you are now like Christmas tradition for people?
Look, I think you might be being a bit lofty there.
Okay, well,
Home Alone, Christmas Prince. But we had fun. We had a really good time, and it's nice to be a part of something that makes people feel good. I think that's even what we tried to do with iZombie. It's like a zombie, gruesome kind of television show that we tried to make light and fun and accessible, and still, ultimately, even though there's a few sad parts, something that makes us feel good. And I think right now we really need a lot of that in the world, and it's nice to contribute to that.
It's true. Any questions for Rose? We have 2 aisle mics, so you can go ahead and start lining up.
Hey, Weird Al Yankovic t-shirt.
If you had to eat somebody's brain to absorb a bit of them, who would that be? Anybody that you'd like to take on for a little while?
It changes quite often, but I am interested in true crime. I'm really sort of conflicted about it, because sometimes I get worried about capitalizing on somebody else's unhappiness on a serious note. But I do find it really fascinating psychologically. So sometimes I wish I could eat like a true crime person's brain just to know what happened, I'm really nosy. I was nicknamed Nosy Rosie when I was little, so. Yeah, I think maybe something like in the criminal justice world would be interesting.
I go on record that we started it was sad. That was my attempt to lighten the mood, and then you went back and made it dark again.
Thank me later, guys.
Yeah. Wow. It's very dark. But yeah, that would be really cool to. I think that'd be an asset though.
It's either that or Kim Kardashian. So either.
I think I'd join you on that.
Maybe that's both. Who knows?
Yeah.
Crossover.
There's the series we want on Netflix right there. All right, let's get to the audience. Let's start over here. So go ahead, sir. What is your question?
Hi, I'm just wondering if you're going to release a cookbook with all of the recipes.
Do you know what? That's a great idea. I asked about a cookbook. 2 fans have already made me fan-made cookbooks that have been like professionally published. They're amazing.
Where can I find them?
You know what? I wonder how we can maybe we've got to start a Twitter petition or something going, asking around, trying to track back down that fan who made the cookbook. Let's ask for it to get them to do a mass release. It's really good. Really, really impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, over to this side. Go ahead.
Hi, Rose. My question concerns the fact that your character on iZombie went through a number of personality changes depending on which brain you happen to be on. When you were preparing to perform those particular episodes, how much of a collaborative effort was it with the director in terms of coming up with how you would act out those characters? Did the director essentially say, go ahead, or did the director provide some direction?
It's so different working on a television show than working on a film, where you get a lot of production, like a lot of pre-production and a lot of rehearsal time. When we were shooting iZombie, we were just like, I was prepping the character while I was shooting another character during the day, and then I would arrive on the first day of the episode to meet the director, often for the first time, and have to already kind of have an idea very set about what I was going to do. So it wasn't, the writing did most of it for me, I will say that. They did such a brilliant job. And then it was always kind of like, it was always a very stressful day, the first day of an episode where I was trying to establish that character. Normally, you kind of want to do a little bit more rehearsal time around inventing somebody new. So it was a little bit of a funny one, but we did what we can and, researched, I read, I would look on YouTube was a great resource for me. Gosh, I don't know how I would have come up with some of it without that, but yeah, just trying to kind of cobble it together as best I could. And then on the day, the director would definitely help guide me. But I also had an amazing guy called Dan Etheridge, who was the on-set producer. He's Rob Thomas's right-hand man, and he was kind of a compass for me throughout the whole season, because not that many directors are there that regularly, and this was somebody who had been there for every single episode of shooting. So for 5 seasons, he knew all of the characters I'd played and the needle that I was trying to thread. So he was very helpful for that.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back over to this side. Go ahead. What is your question?
Say you were a tree. What kind of tree would you be?
Wow.
Did you say if I was a tree, what kind of tree would I be?
Yes.
I've never been asked that. That is such a good question. I would be a Pahudakawa tree, which is New Zealand's Christmas tree, we call it. It's like this big native tree with bright red flowers, looks a little like a bottle brush. It's stunning. It's really beautiful, and it reminds me of home. What a nice question. What a nice, wholesome question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was going to say, what you've done this so many times. What is the one question you get the most? And then you got a question you never got before, but...
I was going to say, I hope it doesn't spoil anybody in the line's question right now. I'm going to quickly think of a new one if I'm going to answer this, but what are the brains made of is what I get asked the most.
Oh.
So they are gelatin. They are like coconut agar, sort of disgusting. Yeah. Better than real brains. I guess I can't
30
complain.
people just left the line.
I know, yeah. Sorry.
Oops. All right, back to the side. Go ahead. What is your question?
Second most asked question, and it really stresses me out because it's like choosing your favorite child, which is not allowed, by the way. Can I just get somebody else to answer that one for me? What are your suggestions? What are your favorite brains? Let's do a consensus.
Drag queen.
Drag queen?
Hockey player.
Hockey player? Karate? Oh yeah, the martial arts. Okay.
Salsa dancer.
Salsa dancer. Yeah.
Gamer.
Okay, this was a bad idea. Those ones are my favorite. No, it is really hard to choose. Salsa dancer was a definite top pick for me, and also Dungeons and Dragons brain was like the most I've laughed on set ever. So it's tricky though. Sometimes people remind me of them and I'm like, oh, I forgot we did that one back in season 1 or something. So there's lots of gold in there that I had a great time playing.
Thank you.
Which one was closest to Rose? Which one was the easiest to get into?
Probably the sociopath.
I was hoping for like, maybe you played hockey growing up or something, but okay, let's go with that. Okay. Back to this side.
Would you rather have played a human rather than a zombie?
I spent the rest of my career playing humans, so I was okay with zombie. I nearly played a dolphin once in an animated show, but didn't get it. They really keep me to humans and zombies. So it was definitely the only time I can imagine doing that. I don't know if I'd be in a rush to play another zombie. I've used up that genre a little bit for myself, but I love the way they kind of reinvented this incredibly powerful genre that the more I looked into the history of zombies and what they can kind of represent, the metaphors they can stand for, I find them really fascinating, and I felt really lucky to get to play one. I'll take humans going forward though, in case anyone's offering.
What the bucket list? Is Dolphin still on your acting bucket list?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the list?
Tree, a Pukakawa tree.
Okay. I feel like you would have more fun playing a tree from The Wizard of Oz, because at least you can throw apples and move around a bit.
Exactly, yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay, so tree.
Yeah, I'll do like a small iPhone remake of The Wizard of Oz and
Wow.
I'll play the tree.
Tree or a dolphin.
Yeah.
Those are some high, lofty goals.
Somebody
We'll see.
else, my manager, better intervene. Someone's got to sort me out of the role I should actually play.
All right, let's go back to this side. Go ahead. What is your question?
Did you make any friends during the whole?
Just finish it there. Did you make any friends? I hope so.
Did you make any friends throughout acting through that? And did you keep any of those friends that you made with the other actors? And do you still keep in touch with them?
Yeah, it's like high school in many ways, but primarily because we kind of built this group of friends that were like a family. We were so close on that show, and when you work on a TV series and you're spending much more time with your colleagues than you are with your family or friends or anyone else, it's lucky when you get along as well as you do, and I love those guys. They really are. I feel like I inherited a bunch of brothers and a great sister. We're all very, very close still, and kind of trying to follow each other as Raoul's back in the UK at the moment, and Ali and AJ have been on tour, and everybody's everywhere. Malcolm was in New York last weekend, so we're all trying to hang on to each other, but it's a bit like when you all go off to different colleges and you're still trying to stay in touch. It's not quite the same as seeing each other every day anymore. So it's a bit sad again. Another little bring down for you guys. Let's lift it up next time. I'm so sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, back to this side. Go ahead.
What was your favorite thing to explore with Liv on the show?
My favourite thing about playing Liv was that she was allowed to be vulnerable. I think that's brilliant writing. That's Rob Thomas and Diane Ruggiero, right, who co-created the show. Made a character where sometimes right now when there's like strong female leads, we kind of misunderstand that and we think that means they have to be really tough and quite aggressive or assertive. And Liv, to me, can be a badass, but she can also be really vulnerable and open to the world and soft, and she's not hardened, and I think that's a really good role model to have for young girls and guys, just to look up to somebody who part of their strength is in being sensitive and in letting themselves feel things. I think it's important to see. So I love playing Liv's vulnerability.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to say, I remember watching the show for the first time and looking up the name when I saw it. Rob Thomas, not the same Rob Thomas as Matchbox 20, just...
Although we did eat his brain, Matchbox 20, Rob Thomas. Who saw that episode? Yeah! Rob Thomas Matchbox 20 is so cool. And by the way, he is, sorry to offend anyone here, but he's definitely iZombie's #1 fan. He knew everything about our show. Like, he knew our backstories. He'd gone deep. I don't even know where he'd got his intel. But he showed up on set and was just like, oh, so we're, Liv's mother, and did you go to this school, and she's now working at this job? And I was like, well, you know more than me. This is bizarre. Rob Thomas, huge iZombie fan, turns out. And I'm a big Matchbox 20 fan, so that works out.
It's very cool when people like your fans are fans of your work. That's really cool. Small world. All right, back to this side.
Hi, so first of all, I want to say I've been a fan since Power Rangers.
Thank
Probably
you.
my favorite Yellow Ranger.
Second, I just wanted to ask if there's a character that you wish you'd gotten to, or a person you wish you'd got to eat the brain of that might have been a fun character to play that you didn't get to.
In iZombie, you mean?
Yeah.
Always thought it would have been quite funny to eat Tinkerbell's brain. Thought that could have been a good crossover of the two shows, but as per usual, nobody responds to any of my emails when I suggest ideas for the character. They're like, aren't you supposed to be preparing? Just go back to your job. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks so much. All right, back over here.
Hi. So, as a part of iZombie, you play an American who goes through many different roles, but your native accent is New Zealand. I was just wondering how much work you had to put in to be able to play all of these accents over the course of the series runtime.
Sherlock over here, he's found me out. Truthfully, not American. I'm from New Zealand, and I used to do. I worked on Hercules and Xena when I was little. I was like 5 and 6, and I did probably one of the worst American accents you'll ever hear in your life. But it was like learning on the go. I trained as I worked, and it got better. And we watched so much American film and television growing up that now it's not even something I think about. It just sort of drops in and drops out. I know some actors who like to stay in it all through every day, but the days are already long enough. I need to be able to feel like myself in some ways, so I always speak as a New Zealander, and then when I'm in the scene, we shoot, and I do an American accent. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How's your Boston accent?
Well, actually, Boston accent sounds a bit like the New Zealand accent. Why we say car, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Car. I noticed that earlier. Someone was talking about the park, and I was like, oh, the park.
All right, go ahead. What's your question?
If you could work with anyone on a movie, who would it be?
Oh, this is so hard.
Wouldn't it be? Let's start there. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No.
Okay, now I can get stuck in. No. Alfonso Cuarón is like my favorite filmmaker. He's pretty amazing. But I'm obsessed with Sister Act. So probably Whoopi Goldberg's up there. I have quite an assortment of interests in movies, so yeah, all sorts. Those two would stand out. Maybe not on the same project, but you never know, right? It could be a wildest dream come true. Thank you. Good question.
Speaking of Whoopi and Sister Act, growing up, what was your thing? Like, if you were to come to
Sister Act.
Okay, but coming.
We dressed up as nuns.
Really?
When we were doing. Did anyone see those videos we made? Season 1 or 2 of iZombie, we made all these like teaser videos leading up to the new episodes, and all of the main cast dressed up as nuns and sung along to Sister Act. That
you were to come to a
my
con.
brainchild. I'd dress as a nun.
You dress as a nun.
Yep.
Amazing.
Or what else would I come as? Any suggestions? What should I come as? I've thought about cosplaying to one of these cons. I thought that'd be
What is your
cool.
thing? Are you like Harry Potter, Star Wars,
Yeah.
Marvel? Like, where do you?
I think Harry Potter would be
Harry
good
Potter,
for me.
okay.
Yeah, Harry Potter would be a good fit. Power Ranger.
Power Ranger.
I'm not getting in that spandex again in a hurry. You'll have to give me 6 months training first, thanks.
Okay, back over to you. Go ahead.
Hi. So many characters from the season died off or stopped going to the show currently. Was it hard to part ways with those actors and actresses?
It was actually. We really, really loved the people who came onto our show and worked, and so many of them, particularly all of my boyfriends, who we all got to know pretty well. And we would just, it started getting to the point where I would see like a boyfriend character being written in, and I was like, oh, we can't get attached to this guy. There's just no way he's going to stick around. But no, we were sad. It was very much like a family, and people would kind of come into the fold, and we'd miss them when they left. So I was glad that, I don't want to spoil anything, but we managed to get lots of good people around for the finale and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you. Go ahead.
So,
You look beautiful.
thank you. So recently-ish, your character comes into somewhat of a moral versus legal situation. Try not to spoil anything.
I know I'm about to run over and cover your mouth. Just kindly, like, to save all of you from spoilers, not something weird.
Do you think you would do the same thing Liv did?
My lawyer has asked me not to respond at this time. No, I don't know. I feel like It is a really tricky one. Liv has great integrity and believes in standing by people and doing right by people, and it's great, but I think it's tricky because you might end up compromising yourself in another way if, she got put away and taken away from her family, the people that she loves, and Ravi and Peyton and everyone. So I don't know exactly how I would handle it. Liv's so noble. She really does fall on the sword, and I'm probably more of a coward, but I get to play a hero, so I'll take that.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes, no brainer. Pancakes, yeah, can we have a show of hands actually? If I'm in the minority here, I'm going to be really upset. Let me start with that. Pancakes? Thank you. Waffles?
Yes!
No.
French toast. No French toast? Oh!
Fruit salad?
This is fun.
I'll take pancakes, yeah, love them. Love them. Lots of maple syrup, thanks.
Thank you.
You offer?
I think you should place an order, I think. It's coming
Making
your
me
way.
hungry.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I danced growing up. I did ballet, but stopped as a teenager and did I've always kind of done bits of dance over the years, but I'm very much a jack of all trades, definitely a master of none. Malcolm, however, we call Liquid Hips Goodwin because he is such a good dancer. Raoul is learning. He is learning. He is a great learner and he definitely won most improved player of the tournament.
Was that Ravi's most improved or Clive?
Ravi is most improved.
Okay.
Clive came in here
Clive
owning it. Did anyone see, who's seen the episode where Malcolm dances with the woman as the decoy?
Yeah.
Those moves. I have so much behind the scenes footage of me just fangirling out over Malcolm Goodwin's dance moves. Yeah, he was definitely the star player of that. But we had so much fun learning it, and it's just been an incredible job for things like this, just getting to tap into learning this whole different skill for a while, forgetting it all, being completely useless the next week, but having had fun, so thank you.
You're talking about all these skills you had to learn. Any really somewhat small and ridiculous skill you had to really sharpen to
magician. When I was on Magician Brain, I had to fan cards.
Oh.
And turns out, any magicians here? No magicians in my fan base. I'm furious. I'm livid. Well, there's a definite shortage of female magicians as well, so I'd like some of you ladies to step up. I had to learn how to fan these cards, and it was really tricky, like a deck of cards, to kind of spread them properly and just to look remotely convincing, but we worked with a really great guy who helped me out a lot. And I did get to see behind the velvet curtain a bit, saw some of the tricks, which you don't ever really want to see. Yeah, it spoils it. You go to the Magic Castle now and you're just like, I get you. I know what you're doing.
There used to be a show on TV, the guy with the mask. Did you guys watch that? Like the black mask, and he would spoil all the tricks.
That's a terrible premise.
Yeah.
That's like I'm just looking at the age group here. I was going to refer to a good bearded friend that comes at Christmas that I'm just scared I'm going to ruin someone's day. I'm not going to talk about that. Finish.
All right, moving on. Okay. Go ahead.
I think you all look old enough to know. I see one very tiny, weeny, cute bubba, though, and in case she's a really, really good listener, I don't want to spoil.
So my question was, who is it who designs the brain recipes for each episode, and what's the process behind making them and filming them?
The writers normally come up with the brains. There's always some sort of tie to what I'm doing on screen or the brain that I'm becoming. So like the good examples I give are when I was on Gossip Brain, they would be like stirring the pot. So there'll be a little detail like that or a pun, or White Rapper Brain. It was literally a white wrap tortilla where they put the brains in. So there's always something that they're putting through, and that's normally done by the writers. And then we had a chef called Juno who would make them palatable, and aside from the disgusting little brain chunks, the rest of the recipes were really good, so.
I was wondering if you ever, as a cast, did a game of D&D together, and if so, whether or not you did it, what would be your character?
Malcolm, who plays Clive, went and did a campaign with some friends he made while we were researching. The thing is, when we were shooting, we had just sort of one day to do your laundry and everything anyway, so I didn't really get to. It takes a long time. Turns out you have to really dedicate a lot of time to Dungeons and Dragons. So now that I'm happily unemployed, maybe this is going to be my new pursuit. Can you be like professional Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, got me thinking, thank you. I will search the internet, the dangerous internet.
Thank you. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your free time?
I'm like a 900-year-old woman and I like
Okay.
cross stitch,
Oh.
sewing, I like gardening, and reading. And partying!
Oh yeah, crazy parties with cross stitch. What are you working on? Any big pieces right now?
I turn photographs into, you know, the little computers, like the little computers. How old am I? Honestly. But you know, like you used to be able to do it on like a CD-ROM drive there was like a program you downloaded off a CD that like taught you, I still have that program, and it turns photos into patterns for embroidery, and then you sew patterns. So I sew my parents, I sew friends and send some pictures.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Thanks.
Just have a table next Boston.
Thanks, yeah, maybe I'll set up a little shop.
Yeah. I would.
And cosplay as, I still feel like I could get a better suggestion out of you guys for something like Captain Marvel? Oh, that's a good E.
Yes!
Ah, Luna Lovegood?
How about a Black Widow?
Black Widow? Oh, guys, I'm gonna start fighting here. This isn't my intention.
Female All Might.
All of these characters as one. I'll try. I'll eat their brains.
All right. We have time for a couple more questions, so let's get back to it. So go ahead. What is your question?
Okay, I was just gonna ask,
Great outfit.
thank you, if there were any, like, brain characters that you really did not like, so like non-favorites, or like any skills you had to learn that you just hated.
Yeah, I didn't like playing the like mean, racist, bigoted guy. He was nasty. It's just not as much fun to start the day and be like digging into this guy. But it served a purpose, and I think it was still a good episode of the show. I prefer playing something where it had a bit more levity and a bit more fun. Season 2 and season 4, I'd say is my favorite. What are your favorites? I mean, 1, because it was fun and it was like all new, but 4, I think everybody kind of made a pact at the start that we were going to try to dig deeper and find more stuff. We actually did. All the cast were like, okay, we've had 3 full seasons of a show. How do you start another season fresh and find something interesting? And so we would challenge each other as actors to be like, where's somewhere else you could go that's not the easy route with this character, and do things like that. Maybe season 4, I was pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, season 4 was pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone's a critic, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi. So I watched you when you were on Power Rangers back in RPM, and then I went on and saw you on iZombie, and I thought it was great, and I love iZombie. How was it different from going from Power Rangers to something like iZombie? Like that?
Power Rangers to iZombie was less of a leap than like Masters of Sex to iZombie. That was very different. I feel like I've done a lot of genre work. I don't know. I mean, I did sort of the Hercules and Xena of everything, and the Power Rangers, and Once Upon a Time, iZombie. It was kind of a lot of quite genre-based fan audiences and stuff. So I don't know. To me, it's always just about trying to make a character real in whatever way you can. So you might be fighting big monsters in rubber suits, but like trying to ground them with a little bit of something that people care about and can get invested in. So that's, or it actually doesn't really matter what the project is. I've kind of had the same approach. But yeah, Power Rangers was a lot of fun to work on. We filmed in New Zealand, like down the street from where I grew up, which was so rare. I never get to work at home anymore, so it was cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have like a couple minutes left. We only have 4 questions, so we could do like a little bit of a speed round. Oh, 3 questions. Oh. What? We'll do like a little speed round. We'll try to get them all.
Okay.
Okay, there's only 4. Okay, go ahead.
Do you like any of the other CW shows like Arrow or Supernatural?
Yeah, I love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and we got Rachel on the show, and that was really, really cool. Answered.
Amazing. Go ahead. What's your question?
So I love your accent. What accent, like, do you love?
Scottish. Karen Gillan's accent is one of my favorite. That's so cute, and no offense to any Scots, but quite funny. I can talk. Okay, listen to mine.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, Rose. I'm wondering the difference, I could probably guess, but I'll let you tell us, the difference between being on a show like iZombie from the beginning and coming in the middle somewhere and Once Upon a Time as Tinkerbell, the feeling you get from...
Yeah, I think when you come in the middle of a show, it's so established already. The tone, the set, the people, the way that everybody interacts, that's all already formed. Whereas when you start a show, you're kind of responsible for establishing all of that. And so it's a bit more responsibility for me, and but then also a little bit more creativity, because I'm not stepping into somebody else's world, I'm helping to build it. So Once Upon a Time, they'd done a lot of that hard work for me, so I was able to just drop in and have fun, really. Thank you.
Cool. All right, you can be you're good. You be the last question, but we had someone sneak in over here. So what is the question? We'll let it slide. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Hi, I just wanted to say, at the end of season 1, when Blaine killed your boyfriend, I really thought I could never go and continue to watch it again.
Oh, I know, it was really terrible.
So my question is about Blaine. You haven't said anything about
because we're trying not to do. Who hasn't caught up? Who doesn't know what happened?
Oh, not about what happened to him, but just like him as an actor. And
Oh, David Anders is an incredible actor. He's one of my favorite people to do a scene with. He's so good. He plays too many villains. Concerns me. But he's very, very, very good and a really lovely human.
Is he American? Or?
He is. I know. He's played a few Brits. He's a bit of a chameleon.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last question. Go ahead.
Well, so just like everyone else here, I'm a big fan of iZombie, which is why I want to ask, is there anything you can tell us about A Christmas Prince, the Royal Baby?
Great to have a little Liv appearance in that, just like one scene where Liv shows up at the Royal Palace. What I can tell you is that the labour is a long labour. And it is really hard to solve mysteries while you're in labour, it turns out. So you guys will enjoy it. It's a good laugh. I would say get a hearty cup of eggnog and sit yourself down with a jigsaw puzzle. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Also, just thank you for 5 years of support with our show. We have the best fans ever. We all know that. We're so grateful. Every time I come and see people dressed up as Liv or Ravi, it makes me so happy. Thank you so, so much. Just know that you're all really appreciated.